Hello everyone. My name is Anastasia, and welcome to Humans. We are the #1 pitching platform for Web3 founders to showcase their projects to multiple investors. And today we are having my favorite part of kind of event, Startup Pitch Roast, where founders pitch to multiple investors and get their decks roasted, but in a friendly way, of course. And this demo day is also a unique opportunity to discover and engage with some of the most promising projects we have today, and maybe form some strategic partnerships. But before we begin, let me introduce you to our Telegram Dealflow channel. It's called Probably Nothing. This is the best place to stay updated on the latest projects and investment opportunities. You can see today's participants there, which gives you the chance to review their decks. And to join, you can scan the QR code on the screen or click the link we'll send in the comments. And happy to have everyone here. We are joined by an impressive lineup of investors. We have representatives from funds like Gumi Cryptos, Hi Miko. We have the Sandbox, Arcstream Capital, Ethereal Ventures, Paper Ventures, and many others are here. Hi everyone again. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And by the way, here's also some nice update. Today I'm joined by Ian Arden, an investor from Mempool Ventures, and he's our new co-host. Hey Ian, how are you doing? Can you please give a brief intro about yourself and Mempool Ventures?
Hey everyone, happy to be here as a co-host. That's probably because you found my last participation quite entertaining, and I'm very delighted. Very delighted to serve you today. So I am an investor with Web3 and AI focuses. That's something that I have been working on as a venture builder for the past 2 decades already. My first AI project was in 2006, 2007. And from there, I did Web2 and Web3 and AI venture building. My last 6 years have been in crypto since 2017. And then a year ago, I decided to also restart our AI narrative because finally the technologies with large language models are where they needed to be for almost a decade. Really great progress. And we are investing in venture building in both Web3 and AI globally. We are super supportive to early stage startups. We are happy to cut the first checks, help the founders with their technology, with the go-to-market strategy and implementation. That's briefly about me. And now I would love to get to the meat of our gathering today. And first of all, I have a small ask, which is that if we all can have our video cameras on with our faces smiling or being sad or being worried, or if you're outside, it's also good. No worries about that. We are happy to see each other tonight. Now, in terms of the format, we, the founders, you'll have the maximum of 5 minutes for the pitch, and then that will be followed with up to 5 minutes of the feedback from the VCs. Please respect each other's time. Please don't take the time limits too harshly. It happens all the time, but it's not the end of the life, and it's just one pitch. Just try to give as much necessary info in the beginning as possible. So here are some tips for judges as well. During or after the pitch, you can show a raised hand emoji if you'd like to share the feedback or ask any burning questions. If you like the pitch and are eager to chat further with the founders, please find their Calendly link in the Zoom chat, or you can get back to Anastasia and the team, and they will take care of connecting you. And the quick tip for our viewers, if you're watching us online via the stream, just click the startup name and you'll see its deck. And on the bottom of the bar, you'll also find a button to request an intro to a favorite startup. So we are From here, moving into our first pitch, and our first pitcher is Nomics. It's a comprehensive Web3 enterprise tokenomics and management tool for complete token lifecycle design and monitoring. Please, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ian. I'm going to share my screen up. Cool. Thanks for your time. Hi, everybody. So my name is Nathan. I'm the CEO and founder at Nomics. I'm a former finance guy. I founded a previous company called Meria, doing stacking as a service, accounting approximately 60 employees. And today I'm the CEO of Nomics. I'm joined by a team of 12. So briefly about Nomics, we've developed the market's most advanced token economics builder. That is our first tool, allowing anyone launching a token to design its tokenomics step by step. That's the big innovation. It's an open source software based on economic templates. So basically, to make you a very short demonstration, you choose a sector. There's 47 sectors. We've classified all the sector of the ecosystem. You choose the sector and you start from an economic template that you can fine tune based on what you are building. We are assisting you on building your allocation, your funding, your reward policy, your vesting. And at the very end, what you're going to do is, once you've covered all the steps, you generate reports like DocSend that you can share to everybody, your community, your investor, whoever, with your company main information, all the graphics that have been generated from the software, all the tokenomics data and information. Voilà, that's our very first tool. We are also developing a supply monitoring tool for liquidity optimization based on DeFi v33. It's a bit technical, so I won't spend too much time today on it. We're also launching our own token because we've understood that tokenomics is the door to the early stage ecosystem. I'm going to move my slides to the point where I'm talking about the token. Voilà, so the tokenomics is the very first thing that the founder needs to do when he's going to launch a project. So we'll be in that position to address a project very early on. And we're introducing with our token the notion of passive airdrop. That means we're going to take a portion of the supply of every project using our toolings in exchange for an initial traction of community initial investors. And every Nomics token holder will be subject to being airdrop a portion of the supply of every project using Nomics. That's one of the big innovations regarding our token. The software is live. If you want to try it on, you can access it through our website. I'm joined by a great team. We are 12, 3 PhDs in applied math or Python in the team. We've been working on Nomics since end of 2022. We've raised 1.2 million as a pre-seed in March 2023. And now we're raising our seed round. And voila, that's it for me. Happy to take any question you may have.
Yay, great. You made it ahead of time.
I'm happy to comment.
Please.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah, this is Miko. Just a really quick caveat for everyone at the beginning, which is, the spirit of this is always really trying to be as helpful as possible, both to the person who's pitching as well as to the audience. So I just want to let you know where I'm coming from. And I'll keep my comments very brief, right? But so I would say it's definitely interesting content. I appreciate what you're doing in your background. I would say a couple of things with respect to the Silicon Valley culture that I represent, which is sort of a big difference between Silicon Valley and maybe European culture, is that I think you mentioned that you had sort of 60 employees, and then now you're working on a new thing with 12 employees, right? So I think in Europe, there's sort of a feeling of you must have a large team or else you're not that important. And I think in Silicon Valley, the reaction is the exact opposite. So I think depending on whether you're pitching European or Silicon Valley style investors, you should try to sort of highlight, maybe the leanness and compactness of the team, because the bigger the team is, like, so if I'm a Valley investor, which I actually am, my reaction to team size is there's two reactions. If you have a large team size, so our optimal team size as an investor is actually 2. Like 1 is too small, 2 is a good number, and then above 2 is maybe getting into the feeling of like later stage. So, and one of the weird dynamics that I get into sometimes with European founders is they'll say something like, I have 30 employees, and then I will say, oh, well, that doesn't sound like an early stage thing. And then they say something like, none of them are getting paid, or they'll say something to kind of like try to, or they'll say, well, it isn't early stage. We've been running since 2017, but I'm going to give you an early stage valuation, right? Which is, so none of those things really fits our model, right? So the model, so I just want to kind of say it may be, because some of these things some of these things may just be facts and hard to avoid, right? Like, so you may have that many people, right? But sometimes I feel like the tendency for the European startup is to try to inflate that number as a mechanism of sort of expressing relevance, right? So I feel like that tendency, and obviously this is a cultural point. So my point is if you're pitching a European investor, that may actually be better for you. And if you're pitching a Silicon Valley investor, it may be worse for you. So that's my quick comment today. The other, just a quick editorial comment, which is that I also feel that your style is maybe overly informal, in the sense that my expectation in a pitch is basically Sequoia pitch deck template, and part of the early stage investor instinct is to actually have the early stage pitch be almost like we're an early stage investor is dependent on later stage investors, and so we're picturing you in a room with the up round investor. So in a sense, you pitching us is not just performative, we're actually testing to see if you're going to pitch well in the kind of classical format for your Series A or Series B, et cetera. So that's another kind of just an editorial comment, which is that while the pitch was engaging, the content was excellent, the presentation was very sort of clear and articulate and intelligent, it didn't really follow the classical sort of slides approach. So anyhow, those are my 2 comments.
I had a joke in relation to the first one, which is that in the era of AI, 2 or even 1 employee use is too much.
0 employees. It's fully autonomous. It's a DAO.
Yeah, right. Anyone else has any other comments? All right, lovely. Then let me remind you that the deck link is in the chat, as well as the Calendly link. So you can book a call if you're interested to talk more with Nomics. Meanwhile, we are moving to Nefele. I hope I pronounced it right. It's a layer 1 deep-end storage for the world's most innovative Web3 and AI companies and cutting-edge developers. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello, just tell me if you see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, thank you. So hello everyone. My name is Brieux, CEO and co-founder of Nefele, the deep storage for innovation. So let's start by a bit of context. Data is the oil of the digital world. Controlling data, its storage, and you are controlling the world in the way Microsoft, Google, Amazon understood this very clearly. Today, they are controlling the data storage market, and they have a lot of security with a centralized solution, but at the same time, we are giving them a lot of our privacy, sovereignty, and they're controlling the price, the costs, and it's higher and higher every day. There is an alternative solution, the Deepin-based cloud storage, like Filecoin, Siacon, or A-Wave. But as you can see, the market share is very low there. Why? It's because today, Web3 companies have a poor experience with these solutions. It's slow or very expensive. Then 90% of Web3 companies are using centralized storage to be efficient, but it's a loss of $1 billion USD in revenue in 2023 for the Web3 ecosystem. They're exposing them to the loss of a lot of money, not only related to the cybersecurity, but related as well to the cost they're spending in their centralized solutions. And then, curiously, will this solution will be competitive against centralized solution when they are already building very time-consuming Web3 frameworks and storing with centralized solutions? I came with my associate with a new solution. We developed this since the end of 2022, and we extend a small team around our projects. Nefele has 3 core values. First, we want to guarantee that in our network, people that want to create that data storage will be profitable. It is the way that you can guarantee a stable and growing network. At the same time, the transfer speed between data storage provider and service provider must be as fast as possible. It is a way to guarantee user experience. And finally, integration must be very easy for service provider, and they must deploy what they need according to their specification with the clients. To do that, we imagine totally what should be the network features with a lot of different components related to the blockchain, to the storage, and the content layers. Of course, I won't go deep in these technical features because we're going to spend a lot of hours. So let's move forward to what is made and what is our positioning for Nefele. First of all, with all this feature, we have the way to be the fastest, the cheapest, the most scalable, and most decentralized solution. And Nefele will also bring a new layer of data storage for different applications that are trying to build in the Web3 ecosystem, like supply chain, Web3 gaming, and AI. They have a lot of data demanding applications. And today, our competitors are only providing archives and archival data. So we will be this new layer for them for hot storage to retrieve quickly the files and at the same time to be able to build with competitiveness what they want to do. This has been already bring a lot of people to a whitelist we developed around our testnet. So we have 50 projects and builders that are ready to work around our projects. Additionally, more than 1,500 community members join our different community channels, fully organic, without spending 1 cent in this. Of course, we have different partners. Ashguard is, for instance, a startup working in France and doing decentralized data storage, and many incubators, accelerators helping us to promote and to build our project. Of course, a layer 1 blockchain can't work with an utility token. Our utility token is mainly, you can do smart contracts, stuff like this, yes. But as well, our utility token is to drive data storage. We design a token allocation for the long-term development, and it is the main goal of our project. This is a brief scheme, and to explain all the data storage is going to incentivize, in fact, the file transfer speed. If you have different data storage provider and imagine 2 service provider, the purple one and the orange one, in fact, they're going to reward the one that are the fastest. At the same time, the data storage provider are going to receive tokens from the staking, which would be a way to balance between the staking and the data storage and to create a new storage economy model. We have, so in June and July, we have started a new test phase. We're starting to grow our community and to acquire more B2B partners. Also, our goal is to reach a first public sale in December. Since then, we are going to have a seed round, and the pre-seed round we have right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's already 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to just finish 5 minutes. We have a go-to-market, community, launch of the infrastructure, and network growth, and of course the pricing round to support all this go-to-market strategy. And you have all the information related there. You have the pitch deck directly there and in links. Thank you very much for your time and your attention.
Thank you, dear investors.
I'm happy to comment and kick it off. So first of all, beautifully formatted. I think it's wonderful. Your background is reversed on your Zoom, just so you know. I don't know if you... That's fine, no problem. Tiny comments only. But I would say that in terms of the format of your deck, the slides you used, excellent. I really appreciated your problem definition, right? So I think that's a very, very important. To me, the two most important slides in any deck are problem and solution. I do think that there is a bit of suspense in your deck that may be undesirable, which is that you put problem and then you put team, right? So I get the impulse. I understand the impulse. The impulse is, who is it that will solve this problem, right? I think there's two negatives to putting team that early. I think one negative is that it breaks up your flow, because I think what happens is that when you see a problem that's that beautifully defined, right? Because what do I mean by the problem is beautifully defined, right? To me, it is a problem that is economic, right? Which is, people are spending a lot of money on storage. That's bad, right? And so it's an economic problem, right? Like, I think that's good, right? So from a VC perspective, we don't want, there are problems. So the other thing that's important is the problem is viewed from the perspective of an actual customer, and it's actually your customer, right? So those are great qualities of a problem slide. So when I say that you hit the problem beautifully, that's a great slide. Like, I like it. To me, the problem slide is the most important slide, right? Because, I like to say, if your lawnmower doesn't work, and the problem statement is, I need to get gas for my lawnmower, right? So you go get gas, you come back, guess what? It's an electric lawnmower, right? So if you define the problem wrong, it doesn't matter if that problem isn't really solvable with money, right? It becomes just bad, right? So I like that you solve the problem well. One of the negative anti-patterns I see is that people are sometimes describing industry problems, right? So an industry problem is something like, our industry doesn't have mass adoption of users, right? You're solving a problem for the industry, but that's not really a good problem definition, right? A good problem definition is more like, apps really need to get users, and we will help them get users, right? And that's a good problem statement, because that's your you're talking about your customer's view, which is your customer's like, I need more users, right? Not the industry needs users. That's too vague, right? So I just want to say, and that's for the audience, like, you already get this and you already have it. So the only comment I would make is that, I would love to see problem solution. The second problem with putting your team slide early is more optics, which is, if you have traction, start with traction, right? And if you don't have traction, kind of start with team. And so what's happening is when we see the team slide coming early in the deck, it feels a bit like capitulation. It feels like, I don't have anything. All I have is this nice team and an idea, and so as you so the earlier in the deck your team slide goes, in general, the average expected valuation goes down, right? So if you want to try to push your valuation up, the best natural position is team and then the ask, which is the sort of natural, like, 1-2 punch at the end. So that's my conclusion. I definitely get that there's time compression, and I get the problem, because you have actually a really good number of slides, because Sequoia pitch deck is 10 slides, and I like to say 10 slides in 10 minutes. And obviously, if you're given 5 minutes, it's hard. So I appreciate it. But to me, good pitch.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brio. Do we have any other investors willing to comment or provide feedback or questions?
I would love to jump here. It's Belinda from the Sandbox. I've been working, actually my first job in venture was in clean tech. And now it's been converging. We've been looking since a long time ago already in decentralizing either low bandwidth network or even electricity, and the barrier has always been the infrastructure. How do you actually, which investor are you actually pitching? Is it traditional investors or Web3? I feel like this is a very Web3 deck. There's not a lot of Web3 native funds that understand the infrastructure challenges and in traditional industries in clean tech and data storage and so on. So how do you go about it?
So I would say that indeed there is a kind of, there are two ways, in fact, to pitch depending on the audience we have. Well, of course, the Web3 audience, which understand the decentralization concept and the technology we are building. So this, right now, the pitch is more indeed dedicated for such audience, and it's all we're building that. By the way, and the parenthesis I have is that we are going to have a rebrand. So it's great that Miko provided all this feedback, because I'm going to furnish all of this to this new rebrand, a new pitch, and filling this new pitch deck. But Belinda, it's true that my first experience with my project was with a traditional incubator, the Pool. So it's in France, and no one has a clue what was even Bitcoin. So I had to explain, in fact, the interest of decentralized data storage for the traditional markets. And there are other angles, in fact, that are very essential, such as, for instance, the trustability and everything related, in fact, to the regulation standards that, in fact, a lot of data protection officials do not meet with centralized solutions. Sometimes they have a lot of difficulties to know how a company is storing a file in centralized solution, specifically with AWS currently, and they want to know, and they want to have more public information to say, okay, you are respecting what are the standard in Europe for data storage, or in the United States, or whatever the country is. So the angle for traditional market will be more related to what is data protection today for them. The price and cost is still the same for everyone. So for Web3 companies, of course, but for the traditional companies, because they're still paying, everyone is paying the same price finally. And of course, the security, the privacy is something that a lot of people in the traditional market, they would prefer to keep and to stay on their personal or company servers and to keep them, because they do not trust cloud process. Sometimes it can be an additional cost. There is a kind of breach. It was some months ago. I'm trying to remember the name of the breach, but I remember that this company, traditional one, decided, in fact, to store data in cloud solution, but have a backup with their own servers. What is the point of having cloud solution and at the same time your backups with your own servers, while in fact in decentralized solution you have an all-in-one? So yeah, there is a lot of different angle for pitching.
Right. Thank you, Brio. Sadly, we have a limit on time, and we need to move on to our next presenter, who are the team of Amulet Finance. It's a cross-chain staking and borrowing protocol. And while they're getting ready, I'm reminding everyone that you can check out the deck in the chat, and you can book a call with the founders you have liked and you'd love to continue the conversation on. And their links are also on the chat. The word to Amulet now.
Hey everyone, this is Robin. I'm delighted to get to speak to you all about Amulet. This is a really exciting and pioneering protocol that we're about to launch on mainnet literally in the next 2 weeks or so. We've been working super hard. We pretty much started in the bear market and have been heads down and are really close now to solving what we see as a fundamental problem for Web3 crypto users. So in essence, our problem, as we see it, is that users are having to choose between staking assets and getting fairly straightforward passive income versus using them in DeFi and getting more out of their assets. The problem in DeFi for lending or farming your tokens is that quite a lot of the time you risk a liquidation issue or a liquidity issue, which jeopardizes the collateral of a user. At the same time, if you're simply just staking assets, very often they're locked up, you can't access them, you can't monetize those assets. And so you're missing out on one of the best things which everyone wants to be able to do, which is basically borrow like the 1%, spend and hold at the same time. So what Amulet tries to do is to allow people both to stake via smart contracts built through Amulet Finance, and then through cross-chain mechanisms, those deposited assets are staked into various yield strategies. Primarily, we're working on staking because it's the most sustainable and obvious method for ensuring that then the loan ultimately gets repaid. And so that loan is self-repaid from the yield on the asset strategy, and those rewards pay down the loan over time. Because the loan is then minted in a matching synthetic treated one-to-one with the original asset, then unlike on, say, a CDP or on money market, there's no risk of liquidation, because as far as the protocol is concerned, every asset that's minted is treated equal to an asset that's been deposited. In fact, every asset that's minted is effectively backed by at least twice as many assets that have been deposited as collateral and earning yield, or by the yield itself, which is held in the reserves and used for redemptions to help enable users of AM assets to unlock and redeem those assets if they wish. So on a recommendation from a previous pitch day by the wonderful Miko, we've put our competitor slide up here because we want to really show the differences between what Amulet offers and what some very well-known both CeFi and DeFi offerings exist. So Nexo, for example, is an incredibly well-built CeFi platform that has survived the scandals of the likes of Celsius and so forth, but nonetheless doesn't offer any of the features that we've listed there that Amulet will offer. Aave is huge inspiration for me personally, not least because the background of the founder is not dissimilar to my own, and yet we say we offer something that is unique and differentiated from what Aave offers to users. And Stride is just an example of a successful liquid staking derivative. Obviously, liquid staking has had huge uptake, but again, if you don't want to risk liquidation, then you still have an issue if you want to access the value in your rebases. Amulet will enable LSTs to be deposited via smart contracts, and then you can mint an advance in an AM asset that represents your future rebases so that you can actually access those future rebases now. Turning to the opportunity, initially we're launching on Neutron with Atom and other Cosmos assets for staking. There's a huge ecosystem actually, which I'll come to shortly, being built around Neutron and Drop, which is built by the team behind Lido. Of course, you all know Lido Finance, who built ST-ETH. So Amulet's going to be enabling a wide range then of interchain strategies, and those are the immediate addressable markets. But we're also in discussions with teams on other chains in order to enable effectively expansion onto other chains and therefore other markets in due course. We have here a quick screenshot of the UI UX. We're really working always very hard to make this as easy and helpful to users as possible. This is an app that we want to work for degens, sure, but also for everyday users who actually just don't want to have to think too hard about what they're doing. And I'd be delighted to offer anyone here a demo anytime to walk through. If I had a bit more time, I'd do one now, but I don't think I have that in the 5 minutes available. So just quickly, this is just a summary of what we say we're doing. We're offering something innovative and different that allows users to actually monetize their assets at low risk. We have a ton of partners and integrations when we're launching. We've already lined up a lot of different partnerships within the ecosystem involving perps, involving lending protocols, involving DEXs, etc. And we've also had our audits done by leading security advisors, Oak Security and Resonance. Our tokenomics is just briefly summarized here. I'm sure anyone who understands would want to examine this in more detail, but we have taken external independent advice on our tokenomics to ensure that they are sustainable and built for the long term. And obviously key in any DeFi protocol is a sustainable business model. There is a much more complex version of this diagram available, but this one essentially summarizes how fees are accumulated and not only go to the treasury, but also in the long run, also build protocol-owned liquidity and involve yields from actually the reserves that are restaked.
Thank you,
Am I running out?
You
Okay.
are giving you 10-15 seconds to wrap it up.
Okay, all right, fine. Well, I'll just rush through go-to-market. We have the usual kind of plans for going to market. We are very close to launching with our final audits having been completed. And the team is a really dedicated, passionate, small team of myself and 2 developers, plus a number of external advisors and experts.
Right,
So finally, that's our round.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. Please, dear investors, do raise your hands.
Yeah, I'll just for convenience sake, I'll kick it off. Absolutely great to see you again. I really appreciate the competition slide. I think it's a huge addition. You know, I would say if it weren't a roast, then, you know, everything is aspirational, right? So I think you've made a huge progress. Congratulations on getting close to your launch. That's really great. I do think this is that there's a certain, so the key to all startups is runway versus traction, and traction is really related to product market fit, right? And so I guess I would declare product market fit here still feels a little loose. So, you know, and again, like, I feel like you're miles ahead of where you were. So I very much like the tone of it. I like how much you've done and executed. Obviously, one of the things we do is we kind of make deltas. So if we see an entrepreneur twice, we always try to connect the dots. Like we you know, so the more delta there is in connecting the dots, the higher, the steeper the curve is, the more impressed we are, right? So obviously that's the function of updates. So, you know, I think it's great that you're moving quickly. I would say the aspirational part of this would be, you know, your statement of sort of your statement of differentiation is, while it sort of fills these little checkboxes, it doesn't really have the feeling of product market fit, traction, referenceability, you know, customers. Like, it doesn't have the feeling of really having solved the problem. I think the problem definition is still too loose, which is, you know, borrowing and lending is bad, right? So I think it really, it feels like something where there's still a gap. There's still a gap of like, we have an idea of what we want to do, right? But it feels like it would be stronger if you were like, the market is receiving what we want to do. And by the way, like, you know, this is a chicken egg problem. I definitely understand that. But one of the things that I really think is really important is writing software is expensive, although AI is making it cheaper, but it's still more expensive than banging the phones, right? So to me, pre-selling a product that doesn't exist and getting customer validation around it is worth doing in almost all cases. There are these really weird cases like deep infrastructure where you're basically like, I'm going to ship a faster computer that's cheaper, right? So in cases like that, you don't need to call a lot of customers and say, would you buy a faster computer that was cheaper, right? Because that's a very, very known commodity, right? But I think in cases where you're trying to do something more sophisticated at the application layer like you are, then getting customer validation ahead of time before you've even written a single line of code actually can be pretty good. It can be a really positive, it can be seen positively by investors as like, that's someone who's really focused on building, you know, real world product market fit, you know, and it will save you a lot of time and money and de-risk the expense of building something that the market may receive that that may cause you to have to pivot. So it's one of these incredible tensions of great entrepreneurs who have incredibly high conviction, but on the flip side, they also have incredibly fast validation, right? So those are the two really weird characteristics, right? Which is that they have this unshakable conviction in the far future that they're building, but they also have this kind of incredibly rapid invalidation mechanism for the actual features and tactics. Great, I see Alan hand up, so I'll stop here.
Thank you, Miko. Hey, so Robin, I'm wondering. So I see you list a few features, which differentiate your product from Ivy and other competitors. So I wonder, what's your thoughts? Like, why would Ivy cannot provide a similar feature? Because I thought they probably have a very large dev team, right? So why they can't do that? Why is your project can do to provide those features, instead of other competitors?
Thanks so much for the question. I think the straightforward answer is that, and this probably chimes a little bit with what Miko's saying, every founder, every builder is probably focused on building what they see as, in a way, it's a bit like Steve Jobs built an iPad before people even knew that they wanted an iPad. And then it turned out the market did want an iPad, but no one knew until he built it. However, we do actually have twofold answer. One is we know that Aave is very focused, for example, on money markets, but has also sought to do its own stablecoin like Go. And just like MakerDAO has moved from doing just CDPs to now running its own version of a money market spot. Of course, there is always a competitive space, but there is first mover advantage. And at the moment, there is no one who is quite focused on this particular issue, which I have to say, as a founder and as a validator myself, I identified and talked to other people in the validator ecosystem saying it's a frustration that you are bonded with your tokens and you can't actually monetize them without selling the token itself and then reducing your holdings. And it's interesting actually about PMF. I clearly need to work on the deck to emphasize this, but just like 10 days ago, someone tweeted, why has no one built a lending market in Cosmos where you can use staked assets as collateral, get to choose how much of the rewards go to paying back your loan and how much you pocket? And literally about 20 people replied and said, it's Amulet Finance is coming soon. And we chimed in and said, we're coming, check out our testnet. So we believe we do actually have a need to be met, and that actually it's because there is a traditional finance precedent, which is effectively invoice financing. When you bill companies and clients in a business and you don't get paid for 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 months, one way to access that value early is to get invoice financing. The difference here is that it's you who are doing your own invoice financing on your own assets. And the advantage of it is that ultimately you can then hopefully do a better return on your advance than you would if you just waited for the money to come in, and you can go out and buy something big or trade or do other things. Of course, it's yet to be seen when we launch. We'll be really excited to see how the market receives it. We have already adapted and pivoted somewhat. When we first conceived of this, there was no meaningful.
We need to move on. We need
of
to
course.
And I think we are going to make one improvement to the timekeeping for the feedback. We're going to have the 2-minute slots for everyone who wants to provide the feedback. And we'll have up to 3 slots. So we'll spend up to 6 minutes for the feedbacks. And that will allow up to 3 people to provide such. Meanwhile, we are moving forward with the presentation of XPAD as the first DAO VC ecosystem designed for both B2B and B2C markets.
Hi, guys.
Hi, German.
Yep. So you can see my screen now, yep?
Yes.
So hi, everybody, once again. Nice to meet you. My name is German. Today is a great day, and you will learn about our real unicorn in the field of early investment called XPAD Pro. Why XPAD Pro? The XPAT Pro is a professional investment ecosystem designed to generate consistent profits while ensuring your peace of mind and security, unlike other short-term projects. That's our C-level team, all past LinkedIn KYC, and our experienced leader and CEO is Hakim Tahirovich. Our partners are well-known PR teams and venture capitals like Pulse Finance, Godbit, and Titans Venture. The XPAT Pro is the first professional DAO VC ecosystem based on the XPAT protocol, decentralized guarantor technology. It provides comprehensive security for your assets while investing in exceptionally best startups. Let's talk about the investment challenge. Finding a good startup requires extensive effort and time, and even then the asset safety isn't guaranteed in the risky crypto market. And the solution that we provide is that when you need to convert crypto to fiat, you use reliable P2P guarantor services like Bybit or Binance, and these services work in an automated and reliable manner. So the XPAT Pro offers a similar effective solution for the early investments. The XPAT Pro team has invested a lot of resources in creating a fully functioning guarantor and regulator concept between investors and startups. That's the XPAT protocol in detail. The XPAT protocol is your trusted guarantor and foundation of XPAT Pro. It's safeguarding investor assets through automated distribution and comprehensive control. It prevents scams by startup founders, ensuring secure investments. And XPAT Pro functions similar to the guarantor services on platforms such as I said before, Binance and Bybit, including P2P transfers and controlling assets of projects and smart vesting for participants. XPAT Pro offers free participation in token sales, guaranteed allocation, and early access to investments without queues or whitelist requirements. And its user-friendly dashboard ensures complete control and transparency, attracting a wide audience by simplifying the investment process. The multi-sale exclusive opportunities. The platform stands out by offering services to both institutional and retail investors. Unlike its competitors, XPAT Pro supports all stages of investment from early stage MA to angel investment rounds and public sales. This allows you to access tokens at earlier stages and significantly lower prices. The XPAT Pro has trending innovations to offer. The first one is the OTC market. It's XPAT Pro is launching a live market for real-time trading of future projects token and offering investors the choice between the live market and sales rounds, trade directly on our internal exchange with handy charts, and order books to track the trends. And the next feature is the Tap Store. This is the technology that lets you earn tokens for real future projects by playing simple games, enhancing engagement, and attracting participants to the projects. The XPP token plays an important role in the XPAT Pro ecosystem. It has limited issuance and deflationary model with regular burn, which is expected to lead to positive exchange dynamics. One of the use cases, for example, are tokens of the new startups can be purchased with XPP at discount up to 50%, significantly increasing XPP token utility and efficiency. The traction, we have the good news, we have raised 1.4 million, and this is the market approved in the form of 3 closed rounds, 1.4 million total, as I said before, and that proves that the market needs such a solution and users are confident in the benefits of our project. This is the list of our partners and bakers. The main influencers and marketing partners are VC funds such as Godbit, Titan Ventures, and Pulse Finance. Marketing partners, our lovely humans, Pulse Finance, Listing Help, Salad, Titan Ventures, and we have over 300 KOLs from different countries. We're pleased to announce that our product is fully functional. After the listing, we will immediately start selling the projects that we are present on our website in the pipeline, and our mission is to eliminate scams by offering access to top quality projects and services in a secure way. By supporting us, you unlock endless opportunities and profits while helping to change the negative image of early investment market. Thank you for your attention. Once again, ready for your questions.
So just a very brief comment, which is, I would say this, is I understand that you have sort of a launch pad, right? And that there's a supply side and a demand side, right? So the demand side is really more like buyers and token buyers, right? And so I do understand that this is a somewhat unique case, but I think one of the potentially kind of reddish flags for me is the use of the word traction in the context of funds that you raised. Like that feels reddish to me, right? Because it means like, because really like what we really prefer is entrepreneurs to have this kind of very lasered focus on customer and product market fit. And I think, this suggests that there's sort of a maybe split attention on fundraising, which I think fundraising takes attention, but in a way, like the founders that generally get the best sort of attention in the investment culture where I'm from here in Silicon Valley is really kind of like sort of I'm good at fundraising, but I see it as something that I want to get back to the main job, right? So in a sense, so I guess to me, traction is really customer validation. So for example, like if you said we raised money, because the impression that I got was that you were saying you raised 1.4 into yourselves, right? So that people are buying your tokens or your equity or your SAFs or safes or whatever it is that they're buying, right? Whereas like the proof of product market fit, aka traction, is actually that investors are buying the things on your launch pad, right? So I guess, and agree that in your specific case, there's ambiguity, right? So I think, I don't know the intention, but I just want to, for the purpose of the broader audience, I just want to make sure that, when the word traction is used, that there's no ambiguity about that, because I feel like it's a yellow to red flag if people talk about fundraising, quote unquote, traction, right? Which isn't,
By the way,
it's not that evidence.
Can you hear my timer when it rings? I'm just making sure. Oh, okay. There was a 2-minute timer, but Miko, you did great. Thanks.
Thank you,
Okay.
Miko. I got your comment. We will like push to more development into this direction as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question, German.
Yep.
Do you guys still have time, Ian?
Yes, we do have time.
Yeah. So it's kind of this is Ye from Action Capital. We're a 50 million venture capital. And so one question for you, German, is like you describe about like 3 kind of different functions for XPAT, which is you have Launchpad, you have OTC, you also have a game for tapping. And as Miko said, this kind of created kind of like distraction for like investors. So what is the killer function you're actually building at this stage? So maybe you can give us more background about, what those different 3 functions play together as a synergy, and how does they contribute, I mean, respectively to the main function you're actually building.
So the Miko correctly marked that we are mostly like a launchpad, but we differentiate ourselves from the launchpad with the XPAT protocol that we have behind the platform itself. And the main goal is to list the projects on our platform, and by making the successful cases of selling these projects, the OTC market and the top store features are quite handy in terms of engagement of the community and growing the sales volume.
Thank you.
Great, we are good in time. If anyone wants to share their feedback, we have one more slot, but if not, we are happy to move forward. I don't see any reactions, so I assume there are no other feedback items. And the floor is given to the Mushroom Finance, which is a yield farming optimizer with the BTC ecosystem.
Okay. Let me share the screen. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Can you see my pitch deck?
Yeah, we
Hello?
can see your docs and
Okay, sure. I'm happy to be here again. And I've seen a lot of old friends I met with because we have already connected with several VCs and partners beforehand. And okay, I'd like to be here to share some updates of our project. You know that we are a yield farming optimizer within Bitcoin ecosystem, and we are first launched on BitLayer. And we integrate with multiple DeFi protocols and projects, allowing users to benefit from the entire ecosystem without the need of direct interaction with each individual project. Actually, we have already been audited by Hacken, and there's the audit report, and I can share with you. You can check it. And you know that almost all of our smart contract is ready, and we are ready. We plan to launch our first strategies with our partners. This is our product frame, and it is simple to understand that we will integrate with different kind of strategies. And it includes DeFi and CeFi strategies, lending, RWA, staking, and some derivatives such as perpetuals and options. We'll merge them into our machine pool, and then we will distribute it different kind of pools of strategies to the users. And all the users, they only need to log on our platform, and then they just need to with one click, and they can stake their assets and get yields. Yeah, there are several cases of our products. That first is asset flow, that with collaboration with the lending platform such as Avalon. You know that Avalon is one of the biggest lending platform on BitLayer and the Milling chain, and we have good connections with them. We can deposit USDC and lend ETH from Avalon, and swap lend ETH to USDC, and pull the remaining ETH and USDC in the equivalence tree to get yields. And the second collaboration is the connection with RW project, which deposit USDC into T protocol for IUSDP and split IUSDP on Pendle, or invest directly in DEX LP for the yield. And for the third one is that we will hold DAO tokens of partner projects for extra airdrops and increased profits. And this is the roadmap of our project, that we've already finished our seed round with DCG, Arlington, Hailstone. They took the seed round. We've raised the 500K for the seed round and launched our testnet in Q1. And in Q2, we have our mainnet launched, and we'd like to conclude our private round. But due to the market condition, that we still have about 500K left for the private round. So it means that we have already raised about 1 million for the private round. And in Q3, we would like to deploy on multiple chains and carry out token strategy pools and multiple staking. And you can see this is our cap tables, that DCG, Arlington, Spark, Hailstone, they took the seed round, and we have already had good connection with BitLayer, Milling Chain, BVM, and some other BTC ecosystems. And on the other hand, we have good connection with some Bitcoin projects such as Avalon, Pair Network, BitSmiley, Enzo, TrustIn, Macalon, Nemo, and some others. As this is our token called Mush. The total supply is about 100 million. And this is our go-to-market strategies. As I mentioned, that we have good connection with BitLayer. They will give us full support on our TVL building. So they will help us to double our TVL. For example, if we have our about 10 million at first, they will double it or give us full support. We're so appreciated. And they will also introduce their investors and the eco project to us. On the other hand, the leading VCs like DCG and WebSupport, they agreed to bring hundreds of millions of dollars to build up our TVL.
Thank you, Yusuf. Please wrap up. You have 15 seconds.
Okay, no problem. Give me several seconds conclude. That we are now in the private round, and they almost concluded. And we will start a QA round for 300K. Yeah, and
okay,
thanks.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to comment before I have to run to my next meeting, because I definitely appreciate.
Is this Miko?
Okay.
Yeah, this is Miko. So I just wanted to give you a treatment on the slide on your investors and backers slide, right? Which shows a very impressive wall of investors, DCG, Arrington, you know, others, right? Merlin Chain, right? So those are all very relevant and good investors, right? I think one of the dangers there is if you show a lot of impressive investors, you're really signaling to more early stage investors that they're late, right? That other people already got the good valuations, right? So I think depends on who you're speaking to. You're obviously trying to get kind of like pre-public token sale investors. So this approach may be the best, but I just wanted to offer an approach that combines a roadmap with an ask. And so the roadmap with the ask approach is what you do is you make a timeline slide and you say previous round, valuation post money, amount raised from who, right? And then you say, what did you deliver milestones since the previous round, right? It's a timeline, right? And then you say today, and the today is generally in the center of the timeline. And it says today, and then you have a milestone that says raising X amount, right? And then you have the future on the timeline that says we'll deliver, you know, public token sale, blah, 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 right? So then so I like this to be the ask slide, right? So the ask slide is basically like, hey, we raised this previously, here were the terms. Here's what we did with that money. Now we're raising this, and here's what we plan to do with this money. So if you take this format, then it's really great for investors because it basically says you delivered, you made promises, you delivered. Now I believe you when you say you're going to take the new money, bigger money, and then you're going to deliver more, right? So so then people can see the time passage and they can say, wow, you did a lot with this money. I'm going to give you more money, right? That's the mood. So I just want to give you that feeling, you know, and this is not just for you. I think what you're doing actually with the pre-token public token sale, this slide may actually work really well. So in a sense, this may be an approach to the slide that works for everyone. Anyhow, I got to run, but you know, nice pitch. Thank you.
Thank you, Miko.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good advice. Thank you.
Awesome. Who else wants to add?
Yeah, I got a question for you, Yusuf. And it's great to see you have so many good backers in either BTC or the general industry. And my question would be, there are actually a lot of like existing like competitors in this space. And you mentioned about, okay, what's kind of like I would say staking strategy or the capital deployment strategy on your on Mushroom Finance. And I wonder maybe if you can give us a better background of what this comparison with some other large players in BTC ecosystem, maybe not on BitLayer, but maybe for example like Merlin Chain or you know, some other like infrastructure. What is the differentiation of your strategy, and what kind of protocols do you bring your I would say your staking money into it, and how much the expected yield you're generating from your Mushroom Finance will be higher than, you know, other protocols. So that will give the investors a more clear understanding. Okay, what is their largest competitive advantage?
Yes, thanks for the question. Yeah, and Yusuf, you have 1 minute for the answer.
Okay, sure. I'll give you, there are two aspects. First, that we have good connection with some projects such as DeSync, Avalon, Enzo, or Seeing. And you know that they're the top tier projects on BitLayer and the Merlin Chain, and we can get the yield from them for their projects. And they support our TVL. They will bring their users and TVL to our projects, and they will also give their yield to our strategies. So we'll have good connection combination of this. And the second one is that we have the full experience in the derivatives such as options and the perpetuals, that we will make a combination of the different kind of strategies, such as there will be a plus of the staking and the options of staking plus the perpetuals to get a hedge. So it will give the people more safer and much more higher returns. That's it.
Thanks, Yusuf. All right, great. We are hopping on to the least participant of our today's session, and it is Security Labs, the largest decentralized custodian network for secure data. Please, the floor is yours.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? I'm going to be presenting my screen. Give me a sec. And thank you, by the way, for setting this up.
Hey, Doris, if you need time to get ready, let me do this. We actually have alpha capture still. So I'll give you an extra 10 minutes to get ready, and I'll give the floor to alpha capture, which is our next pitcher, and then Security Labs, you will be the last one.
Hi, great, thank you. Right, let me just share my screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, can you all see my screen? Great. I'm Louise. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Alpha Capture. We're a protocol for Web3 native investment management for traditional and digital assets. For investment strategy providers, we enable them to build solutions to tokenize, distribute, and prove performance of their investment strategies as ideas or real trades. And for strategy users, we offer an open source app that enables them to automatically execute strategies to any centralized or decentralized exchange they want themselves. At its core, investment management is expertise and ease, quality strategies and execution. You might think that investment management is a solved problem in TradFi and DeFi. But in TradFi, investment management is off limits to most people. Like 75% of people managing their own investing lose money. They need expertise and ease. And in DeFi, the current alternatives are skeuomorphic. They're designed on the same models as TradFi and will be regulated if they aren't already. They'll lead to more restrictions, higher fees, and less financial inclusion for everyone. These solutions won't open up investment management for everyone. We've worked out a Web3 native model that can. We spent over 3 years working on this problem in Web 2, which has given us insights that no other team has. We also have extensive experience in institutional TradFi and building a regulated crypto brokerage. So we know how to build a successful, fully native model. We want to build a global permissionless community with a shared incentive to build wealth, so more people can make more money more easily and have a better quality of life. Investment management is a large and complex landscape. People often think we're similar to other types of services, but we're fundamentally different. Centralized copy trading services, for example, offer strategies and execution, but the constraints of a centralized model mean the economic incentives of participants aren't aligned, and these haven't worked as a scalable investment management alternative. Tokenized vaults also offer strategies and executions on a self-custody model, but because they're on-chain versions of discretionary investment management intended for regulated use, they'll end up with similar constraints to TradFi centralized services. Decentralized copy trading bots allow copying of trades, But because they lack the context of investment strategies with a proven performance record, they're not a substitute for an investment management service. We're the only Web3 native investment management solution for traditional and digital assets. We've worked out a model which doesn't require regulation and does create a shared incentive to build wealth. Strategies are tokenized as NFTs, and exchange of strategies is based on trustless proof of investment performance. It uses a no-knowledge on-chain subscription for complete segregation of the roles of strategy providers and users. We enable a client application layer of strategy providers, strategy marketplaces, and dApps to use strategies. It's a big market, and we're going after a specific segment to start. 50% of people now go online to source investment strategies rather than using traditional services. And strategy providers outside of the regulated industry are our primary client. They're already embedded in their own online communities, and that's where we're engaging them. We've interviewed over 200 strategy providers and users as we've been building, and we unlock real utility and solve real pain points for them. We'll make them our biggest community advocates and reward them for growth and value of the community. It's only been possible in the last 6 months to build a fully native model. We've built a working version 1 of our protocol to prove ideas and of our open source dApp, and we're testing in-house strategies. If you were to build the investment management model of the future, you'd build it very differently to the one we have today. You'd build a model that's open to anyone, anywhere, that drives greater equality of distribution of wealth in the world. And that's the ecosystem that we're building at Alpha Capture. We'd love to take any questions or feedback you have. Thank you.
Wow, you're right on time. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Now, do we have any epic feedback from our investors? All right, good. Just as a reminder, dear investors, if you liked the pitch and you'd love to continue on the conversation, feel free to schedule the call through the Calendly, and the DocSend link is going to be provided in the chat. Thank you so much, Louise.
Thank you.
We are moving forward to our last participant, which is the Security Labs, the largest decentralized custodian network for secure data. Louise, once again, thanks.
Awesome.
Hi, Doris.
Thank you. And how are you? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So this is Security Labs, and we're building Functon Network. We're the largest decentralized custodian network for secure data. So how it works, and why we got started, is that we know this famous phrase, not your keys, not your crypto. I think this is the core value of Web3, but still self-custody has a lot of work to do. So we know that Web3, it's all about ownership, but self-custody is pretty broken, right? We still have many solutions as LastPass, Ledger, Fireblocks, but all these solutions are either custodial, they're vulnerable to data breaches, they're inconvenient, and they have single points of failure. So we asked ourselves, how can we solve this massive problem of self-custody without taking the ownership of a user? And this is exactly what Security Labs through Manifold Network is solving. So Manifold Network is the largest decentralized custodial network of the world. The components of our network it's fully self-custodial. That means that we use threshold signature to distribute your authentication across many devices. We have a cryptographic layer to make sure that the network is able to not obfuscate, we are able to obfuscate the information within the network, so there's no collision within the network. We remove the single points of failures, and we're universally accessible. That means that you can access your private keys across anywhere. So how does it work? In a nutshell, any wallet from any chain can connect to our network, as you can see here. So MetaMask, Ledger, Safe, And what we do is that is completely elliptic curve agnostic. So we work with Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, or any chain. We take that private key, we shard it, then obfuscate it through what we call our obfuscation layer, where we use mixnets, which is the technology for the dark web, Tor, and FHE for the encryption and communication. By doing this, we achieve maximal entropy within the shards and the information. Once we've mixed the information, we do the storage in our decentralized storage layer. This it's a light nodes. These light nodes could be installed anywhere, and this is our own layer. And then we do the transaction settlement in Monad, where this is basically how we access the information on the global state of a network, and we leverage EigenLayer for our proofs, basically. So by doing all these, we're able to achieve 10 to the 50 more secure security. That means that because we have this high level of decentralization in the network, it's basically where Gruber's algorithm resistant, which is like the quantum safe algorithm that you exist. We always like to give the analogy that we're 10 to the 50 is like all the atoms in the world. So what are the market that we're addressing? It's the massive market. So because of all the Bitcoin ETF and everything that's happening in the industry right now, we need a solution that is able to address the self-custodial guarantees to address this massive market that we have, which is basically all the assets that could come on chain, which is a $2.5 quadrillion asset market. So how far are we? We went completely viral, which is very interesting. We wanted to prove if people actually care about self-custody, and we were able to prove this in our experiment. We were able to get 200K unique wallets ready to send their private keys to our network. We distributed 1.8 million rewards. We have 30K composable identities. And because of that, we have now ongoing conversations with Ledger, Safe, Trust, to name a few. So what's the stage and what we're doing? We're capturing their storage, right? So now I just told you how the network works and how people can save their information. The point where we're at right now is capturing their storage. That means where the shards of the keys will be stored. This will be called light nodes. And in these light nodes, these are Chrome extensions, and we're gonna have a gamified leaderboard in order to attract that referral bonuses and staking rewards. So what else can users do in our network? We truly go beyond private keys, and we can see applications building on top of our network as a decentralized LastPass, AI agents, tokenized insurance, and we go beyond Web3. GitHub, you can handle API keys, DNA data, whatever really it's able to be stored in our network in a string. So how do we monetize? Because we have a decentralized storage component layer, like any decentralized storage, we monetize, or how we exchange value is through the compensation of the storage every time you save information in our network. Transaction fees and staking rewards. So this is our roadmap, and we are right now, we're in Q2. So we're integrating right now with EigenLayer, and we're launching our light nodes. We actually deployed in EthCC our light nodes, and it's ready to be tested now. And we're entering Q3 with like the ecosystem building, and we plan to do our TGE at the end of the year. So talk about who's actually building the company. I'm a software engineer myself. I've won more than 8 Web3 hackathons. I've built many companies in the past. And that's where I met my co-founder, Felipe. He's a quantum computing and physicist and mathematician. And Appa, he has exited companies and built applications more than 100 million in transactions. And we have advisors from great companies helping us actually achieve this reality. So I leave you with this. We already have 200K unique wallets. We're 10 to the 15 more secure than any centralized alternative. We use our token for search fees, and our use cases go beyond Web3. We've been backed by Graph Paper Capital, Polygon, CPG, Chain Yoda, the CTO of Celestia, Paca funded Rayo, and with Security Labs, I truly believe this meme will only be a meme and not the reality of the space. So thank you very much.
Boris, that's impressive. Thank you for this pitch. Time for questions and feedback. Well, I can start.
Hey, Doris.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Hey, great to see you again, Doris.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you here. How are you?
Yeah, good. And it's great to see. I think it's the, my favorite deck of like all the pitches, and definitely you cover all the elements, including technology and the roadmap and what attractions you have. And it's great to see that so many progress in the past 1 year. So I think for kind of like the security lab and what you're building is more. I mean, the technology itself is definitely like very, very advanced, and so how people value the network is actually very much about the user adoption. So maybe it's great to see you have like existing so many like wallet adoption. So maybe can you tell us more about what is specific about your user adoption strategy? For example, like, are you targeting more towards existing users on some other like centralized like non-custodian wallets, or are you meaning working with ecosystem partners to onboard like new users, or are you primarily tapping into users who never have their first experience in Web3?
So
You have
what's
15 seconds, Doris.
Sorry?
You got 50 seconds, just keeping the time right.
Okay, so pretty quick. Our tech actually, our SDK is compatible with any connected WACME or any Connect wallet. So let's say they have a dApp that would just install our SDK, and the user will be able to authenticate in the network and send their information. So immediately by being compatible with all the existing tech and wallet integrations, we open the door to any dApp that's already using Connect wallet bottom, basically. So that's one thing. So you don't have to add anything extra. It's kind of like adding an extra line, but you remove all that friction. So you're asking to answering your questions. You're able to either onboard an existing users because they can send their information to our network, or you can generate the wallet brand new. It depends on the configuration in the SDK, depending on the dApp needs, which is pretty cool, pretty flexible, right?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Doris. I actually have a question. Maybe you have covered it, but what terms are you raising at?
So we're fundraising 2 mil. We already have 600K committed at a 25 million valuation.
And is it in equity or tokens?
We're giving a safe and a token warrant.
Got it. Thanks. Any other questions? Yeah, do you have any others?
Pardon me. And minimum allocation is
100K.
200K, yeah?
100K.
100. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. We just literally opened around like 2 weeks ago after Ismail, the CTO of Celestia, gave us a check. He's very bullish on the tech that we're building because he could, kind of like relate when they were doing data availability very early on, and it's similar to what we're doing here with the security and the mix of all the technology that we're building. So yeah.
All right, thanks. We are over with our pitches and feedbacks today. I suggest that we congratulate each other with this achievement. It's been a fantastic hour and 20 minutes. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it, and I'm turning it back to Anastasia so that Anastasia can wrap it all up. It's been my ultimate pleasure to moderate the. Oh yeah, and I have to apologize for the lack of my personal feedback to you as an investor, but it's really hard to manage both roles at the same time.
Thank you, Ian. Anyways, it was great to have you as a co-host, and thanks judges, thanks participants, and of course viewers for attending this demo day. We're actually preparing for another demo day in August. You can check them at our Luma calendar, or reach out to me and I'll explain everything in DMs, and see you next time. Thank you again.
Thank you too. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.